And my question would be, what are the odds of effectively regulating the global tax system?
I think it's a huge problem. And I think if you look at the dotted archipelago of global governance institutions, there is nothing like a place, a forum, which is specialized in addressing this issue, which is becoming bigger and bigger, because as the world globalizes, as global supply chain proliferate, the capacity of clever lawyers to tell you where you should locate your profits and your losses is maximized. In the old world, you would produce something in one country, you export it to another country, maybe you could cheat a bit on the transfer prices, but not a lot. Now that things are produced in 6, 7, 10, 12 different countries, the capacity of multinational to use the differentials in taxation has been exponentially multiplied. So it is now a real issue. Now, is nothing happening? No. There is one place in the international system which has a reasonably good expertise on this, which is the OECD. I know some will say, oh, the OECD is a club of rich. Yeah, but if a club of rich starts addressing seriously this problem, that could make quite a bit of a difference rather rapidly. Because if you look at where 80% of the world taxes are paid, it still is mostly in rich countries. And they started doing something on a limited bit of the problem, which is tax havens. And I think there has been some progress, although not for sure a clean picture, since the beginning of the crisis, not least because countries who previously were resisting any pressure on closing this hole now have switched their position simply because they need money. So I think that's one. The next wave, as I see it, is a much more complex one and has to do with transfer prices, which is the real issue, and this will probably at some stage necessitate the negotiation of global standards. Now, that's not for tomorrow. Look at the European Union, which is, let's say, a fairly integrated system as compared to the world system. They don't have a harmonized corporate taxation system, neither on rates nor on the way you calculate your profit, which, as you know, depends on lots of decisions you have to take on the duration of amortization, for instance. So this is long haul. In the meantime, what we suggest in the Oxford Martin report is do a stage of transparency. The experience being that, in many ways, transparency is stage one of international governance. The moment people can start comparing, then the pressure to harmonize, which in my view is inevitable in something like taxation, will still be a fight between the promoters of competitive taxation and those who will say that competitive taxation doesn't make sense. This is an interesting theoretical debate. I think for public opinion at the end of the day, there will be a push in this direction. The right thing is to prepare it. And again, I think if short term, which is basically no cost, each of you could find in the cloud the international taxation regime of each and every country, this would be a big step forward.